Hi everybody, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Power of Knowing Forums. Regenesis Talks, a LinkedIn Live event, episode 212. And today we are talking on the topic of discussion is HR Value Magic, Create Master Managers and Elevate HR, chapter 66 of Regenesis Talks. Without further ado, let's welcome our speakers Thomas, Rajiv, and uh, Sunil joining our session today. Hi Rajiv. Hi Thomas.
Hi, hi
Hi,
Prem.
Prem.
Hey. Over to you, Thomas.
Okay, thank you. Thank you to your usual warm welcome. And I have a little message from Sunil today, who's not able to be with us, and he's off celebrating the big festival in India today. So I wish him well, and I'm sure many of you will do the same for those of you living in India in the coming days and weeks. Okay, so I guess the big news is today is all about HRDs, um, chief learning officers, and people who work in the HR department. And I'd like to change the title slightly to this, which is HR Value Magic. And then the subtext of that would be changed to develop managers to value HR. Now, this is a kind of double-edged sword, which is we want to encourage you as HR practitioners and chief learning officers to think very carefully about becoming knowledgeable about developing managers. And it encourages HR people to do the things that enable them to double and treble and quadruple their salaries for sure. And what we know from many organizations around the world is in many places, the HRD, the CLO, and the HR team have higher salaries than the finance director, the chief accountant, and the finance team. And what we also know is in those same organizations where the HR team have made this shift, then the managers have better careers inside the organization. The managers themselves have higher salaries, and the business outperforms its peers in a much stronger way. So this is obviously why those many HR teams that get paid more are being paid more, because they add tremendous value to the organization. So there's a big shift involved here. And it first needs us to look at a problem. Many organizations are kind of overvaluing their HR's role as an administrative function. They think that it should be and maybe is more valuable than it actually is. And instead, the organization and the HR team need to think much more as HR as a key driver of growth and value and an investment in the profit and business success. But it requires this big shift, and it requires that HR stops doing really the things that managers should be doing, and in fact, what only managers can do best. And HR needs to start doing what helps managers do their central job even better. Both HR and managers become more valuable. They respect each other much more. And all of this leads to higher career growth and increased business growth and success. So let's break this down into three major shifts HR and managers need to make. Number one, to recognize the real power and enormous value of developing managers in a proactive way. And Rajiv's going to take us through that. Then number two, let's talk about what the switch is. And the switch is from costly HR to, in other words, HR that costs money, is expenditure, to HR that is driving profit. And that's HR that creates income. So it's completely different. So you don't have to worry about how much, if you're doing something that creates profit, well, it makes sense to do more of that. So HR is in a much different position. And we're going to ask Prem to walk us through that. And then the third section, I'll take that. You could be coming back to me. And this is about by driving business growth through intentional development. And I want to talk to you about how HR does that and how HR practitioners become knowledgeable in that. And then finally, at the end, I want to make HRDs and HR team members, recruiters, and all the people that are in HR a special offer about how you can access Regenesis in a really beneficial way right now by gift of us, the kind of founders team, to HRs, because not many of you know this, but my origins are as a HRD. I was originally a HR, and I've grown into the manager over the years, and I've gradually, as I've got to this stage in my career, joined the two back together in the most beneficial way. So without further ado, let's dive into Rajiv. Over to you. And if you can open us up with recognize, what do we need to recognize?
Yeah, thank you, Thomas. I think recognition is the most important thing because the as you said that HR role is not only to skill up the managers, they need to handle what they can truly do the best, and that is to actually try to have a system where they can elevate the employees experience, they can actually take care of them, they always give them the ear. They try and make sure that the managers feel totally in tuned with the organizational vision and mission. And of course, there are various tools these days. AI and automation is also playing lots of role, so they can actually work on uh, uh, creating a recognition system where all these tools can make it more data driven and more tech engagement can be involved in making sure that the HRDs or the people who are working in the organization, they have more transparency in terms of how their effort is going to be recognized by the organization. And of course, HR has to make sure that the cultural shift happens within the organization, and we try and have the people do the activities which can actually enhance their effectiveness. So, HR, instead of taking on tasks that should be done by managers, like, they should focus on performance management. They should actually increase the engagement and development of the manpower, and also build some culture of, say, innovation, culture of always employees acting like entrepreneurs, and also enable the managers to own these responsibilities, their own responsibilities, more effectively, and try and give them a holistic approach. So HR can create a very transparent recognition system where the employee at the end of the day can know that, okay, these are my KRAs, and then accordingly I have performed, and at the end of the year that performance can be rewarded as well, so that the recognition and reward system works very much in tandem, and there are no heartburns, so that people know that what they have to uh, do, and what are the expectation by the company. So I think uh, the HRD these days have to actually not only strengthen the brand of the organization, they need to ensure that the employee branding is also, done, so that people are driven by the work. And there's a lot of coaching and storytelling is required and expected, and that is where we at Regenesis can come in and help the HRD of various companies do that with much ease, because the role of HR is more strategic, more not as a cost center, but as a profit center. So HR, as Thomas mentioned, now has a much bigger role to play. HR has to make sure that the overall systems are in place. So the businesses that prioritize management development to deliver new and better results and better performance development, and also create pipelines, are more likely to have a sustainable growth system. So they are likely to outperform those that do not do this activity. So that's where we bring in the difference. That's where we bring in new ideas, and that is what HR is expected to do. The HR must transition from being a fixer to being a force multiplier for managerial results, and deliver the ROIs which are expected. And that is where I think the recognition system, will work. So HRD has to really change the entire mindset and work in tandem with the uh, overall top management's policy and vision to make sure that the growth of the organization happens and people feel recognized. Over to you, Prem.
Rajiv, that was indeed an important point that we are discussing on today. And how do we look at HR not only being a cost center, but how do we look at HR being the driving the profit center is what we are looking at. For which I think there are few pointers that we should look at is what is the core idea which the HR should look at, and move from this to a next stage. Okay, what is that we should look at? So from a core idea, HR should be looking at shifting from being a function that costs money to one that actively creates business value, where they bring in value as a service that can be brought in. They can build things and stuff like that. That's one thing. From there, how do they move from there to this HR led training programs, exclusively compliance enforcement and internal processes that slow decision making? These are pointers that they can look at and optimize things. Now, from there, where do they move? They can directly contribute to revenue generation through strategic management behavior, bringing change, led workforce optimizing and growing, initiating developments in the HR department. One could be one of the key example could be organizations where HR enables managers to skillful fulfill their strategic role in developing talent, delivering priorities to see how profit margins and better retention of high value employees can be taken. So this we are talking about enabling people, where we see people can grow with the help of the HR department, where HR turns out to be an enabler rather than being a cost center, where they can bring new talent, nurture few talent, and make that talent sustain and bring more business to the organization. That's one way we can look at. And the other thing that we can look at is we see a practical action that has to be taken. HR should not look at only bringing in people, but also look at how HR tracks and measures the financial contribution to business outcomes arising from their carefully designed and proven development programs and interventions. So that's the whole thing that HR can look at and become from a cost center to a profit center. What do you, Thomas?
Thank you very much. And I think what we've heard from both Rajiv and from Prem is the kind of traditional idea where HR tries to look after the people. They try to bring the people in place. They try to manage the employees. They try to look after them, if you like, as almost a parental role to care for the employees. And what we're saying today is actually some of that is not quite right. What we need is HR to move out of the things that don't help the managers and to move into the things that help managers do what HR used to do. So I guess what we're trying to do, we're trying to drive business growth through intentional development of the managers themselves. So if you like, put them back in the seat. The core idea in the center of this week's broadcast is that all growth, whether personal, financial, or organizational, comes from development. The addition of or change of behaviors by managers to those that drive better care, better performance, and better results is really crucial. And that includes being skillful enough to recruit their own team members, to be able to interview skillfully. So these are all core shifts that HR can make. And what HR becomes is the intentional provider of active development for managers so they take back many of the HR, what we used to think of as HR responsibilities for the members, for the pastoral care of their own teams and the motivation and all the things that make better results. So that's the core idea. So what we're needing is HR to move from measuring success through engagement scores and training completion rates and staff surveys and numbers of people recruited, and to put a lot of that back in the management domain. And what we need them to do is to move to this, which is HR demonstrating, proving, measuring their value through business income over expenditure, profits or growth acceleration, and financial gain by creating demonstrable, measurable increases in the value and the contribution created by managers from the human capital. I know this is a bit of a big leap for all the listeners today, but that's what it's all about. And as I mentioned at the start, I am originally a HR. That was where my career started and where I first had contact with management development. And as soon as I touched the subject, I realized this was the key. If I could help managers do the people management bit better, then I could help them create enormous value. Because if the manager, the local manager, is able to change the way they interact with their team members' daily life, their daily levels of motivation, their ability to skillfully complete the job in the best, most successful, resourceful way possible, then performance is bound to go up. And if I, as the HR person, intervened to cause the manager to change their behavior to create those results, then that credit for those gains sat with me in HR. And what the most successful chief learning officers, HRDs, and HR teams are now doing is deliberately intervening to enhance the value that managers create with their own teams. They drive the organization development. They drive the management development. They drive the workforce planning all through the managers rather than doing it from the center out. Something big gets lost. And one of the things that gets lost is the direct connection between HR development activity and the bottom line. Somehow HR gets put into a box that is a cost rather than a value creation, rather than a profit creator. And what we're suggesting in Regenesis is that you as HRDs and you as HR practitioners reverse that trend and reverse that set of behaviors. In terms of practical actions, well, obviously, there's a question, which is how can you intervene to cause the managers to do the things that will create better results? So what is it that managers need to do? You can do a training needs analysis around that. You can begin to develop various interventions in all sorts of different ways. Some of those will be pieces of automation that you encourage managers to use. Some of those will be better, more skillful behaviors. You can encourage managers to join in with the interview. You can train them as interviewers. They could learn to do personal interviews. They could learn to do operational interviews alongside the HRD, who is simply there to ensure the process is complete and is being run as well, rather than running the process itself. It's the manager's job to actually own the person and own the job that the person is going to, and take responsibility for making it work as well as possible. Now, I think in this modern world, they still, in fact, they more than ever need help to do that. So how do you know whether you're getting there? Well, the practical action is to measure on 6 levels. If you intervene, what is the ROI that comes from the wider contribution to the organization? How does your management development intervention, your organization development intervention, create a wider contribution for the whole organization? For the team or the manager that you've intervened with, in other words, the person that you're training and upskilling, how does that create business impact ROI? In other words, what activities are happening better, more efficiently, more effectively, to maybe faster, or maybe some things will be less, but what's the big business impact? Once you know the business impact, the activities that are increased or reduced appropriately, then what's the value of that? What's the financial impact and ROI? Of course, that's where the money is, and that's what these HRDs that are outperforming and out-earning the finance directors are doing, because often the value of the human capital and what the human capital, in other words, the staff, can do is higher than any changes that can be made in the finance department. So ultimately, the board needs to be really involved with this management development agenda as well. So you're really creating a massive financial impact that can actually be measured. We used to think it wasn't possible, but we now know it is. I worked for a number of years before kind of perfecting the Regenesis process with the world's top predictive human capital analytics provider. And they were able to predict the impact that would come from putting in a particular intervention. And then once you put it in and you've made a difference, you also need to ensure that what's the job impact return on investment? So how have you made the actual jobs that your members of staff and your managers are doing more valuable? So what's the return on investment? And also for individuals, how is it valuable for them? So what's the personal impact ROI? And then finally, you've got the sustainability. How much do your managers and your employees enjoy working in this new way? So what's the sustainability impact? Not only will you make a difference this financial year, in the year you did the training, but also you'll get the same upgrade next year, so that the impact will sustain and continue year after year after year. And whilst you can't take credit for it all in HR, you can at least take credit for the year ahead if you've done something significant. And what that allows you to do as the HR team is to build a cumulative picture of the extra growth, the extra profit, the extra income over expenditure that HR has intentionally intervened to create. And that's the magic. That's the magic statement. How can you intervene to cause managers and their teams to do the things that create the better results? That's it. That's the statement of magic. And then you'll soon find that the people at the top, whether it be your owner, your founder, or the entire board of the organization, they will really want to properly understand what you did and how you did it, and how valuable HR magic is when it's correctly applied in this way, and why they'll want to invest in you in order to ensure you stay there and keep delivering for them. And really, this is like a gold mine. In my whole career, this is what leads to never-ending HR value, because there's always more to do. And that, of course, is a key tenet of Regenesis. The repurposing of everything HR into away from all the kind of stuff HR has got into over the years and back into its primary role, which is to enhance the value and the worth of the human capital of the organization. Total magic, I assure you. And not many people realize this, so here's the call. I guess the big thing is, right now, today, we're going to provide you with a link at the end of this broadcast and a code, which is HRD20, and it allows you to get at our primary Regenesis growth program as a HRD. Please come, please join. You'll find that there's two options. One allows you an even more discounted investment at the front. I think it's 10,000 rupees for a year-long development program, where we will not only give you all the tools in the first 3 days, but we'll then shepherd you and be your allies all the way through for the whole year to ensure that you can implement each of the elements of the Regenesis program in HR. And then the other option, believe it or not, is you can get the whole thing, all the quick start workshops, complimentary. They're free. And that's option 2. So use the link, get in there, log in straight away. There's actually a quick start workshop program on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this week. And it runs from 5 to 7 IST each day, just 2 hours. And we know that will transform your lives. So we've shown you how all the most successful companies make HR more valuable. The question is, will you take this on board? What will you do next? So that's my challenge to you. Rajiv, over to you. Do you want to say anything by way of closing?
Yes, thank you, Thomas. I think very insightful tips you gave. But I just want to share with everyone that if you want to build a more valuable organization, you need to drive higher salary for yourself, but accelerating your business growth, you need to implement these shifts. And this is my message to all the HRD people sitting here or joining us today, that here's your chance to actually contribute to the growth of your organization, and we will help you in implementation and making sure that your team feel empowered, and you are able to deliver the results in much more efficient way. And that's what we specialize in Regenesis. And as Thomas said, that this is an opportunity with you, which is very unique, because internationally we are charging very high for this overall program, but we have, keeping in mind the Indian context, kept it at a very competitive pricing, so that everybody and more people can join. So do join in and do tune in. Over to you, Prem.
Thanks, Rajiv. That was Rajiv. Thank you, Rajiv, for that. And with this, I think what we are talking about is a program that is coming. What Thomas told on the uh, uh, weekend, which I think we'll have to look at. And this is the session. I'm bringing out a link which Thomas said had we will share during the session. Is this program where prior commitment program with the HRD 20 as a coupon code, which is scrolling down there. And what we are talking about, the Regenesis program that is happening on this week, for which you will have to register yourself on getting the session done. And what we are seeing is to give the HR and the managers a very kind tool that drives real business growth together. Join us. The spots are limited. Please do join us and use the session for your benefit and the organization's benefit. To summarize to this program, as we have come to the last segment of the program, is that we are doing this program on a monthly basis, and that's coming on a Friday, Saturday, 2 hours a day program, which we are talking about. And this program is a monthly program, as I rightly said, and there are programs which are coming up, and this is specifically looking at the India Growth Program. This is what we call out Regenesis Growth Program, and join us here and avail the best manager tools and techniques that we've been using across the globe. With this, we are coming to the final session, and we'd like to thank Rajiv, Sunil, Thomas joining us today. And with this, we have streamed this live to YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Hope you found this discussion valuable. Thank you for joining us. And our next podcast is the 213th podcast, that is going to be a leadership in action strategies that drive operational excellence. That is tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. Looking forward to see you again. Thank you for that. And Rajiv, Thomas, would you like to have anything told in the end of the program before we conclude?
Rajiv, do you want to say anything before we close?
Oh, I think don't wait. Do join our program. We are going to be there on 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. So, and let me tell you, it has the value which you will definitely like joining, and we have made it more attractive by saying that you can join for free and you can pay later after you go through the program.
Absolutely. And the little resource you need is HRD20, which is the coupon code. And really, what this is all about for most people, this is about doubling your salary in the next 12 months or so, and having been given the means to do that. So come and have a look. Go to the webpage, have a look, read what it says, ring one of us if you want, talk it through, then book. Just book. We won't be able to hold it this low in price for very long, maybe a month or two, but we know these spaces will really fill up quick. So get in early if you want to be one of those people. Anyway, look forward to seeing you there. Bye for now.
Bye for now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.